If you are searching, how much does divorce mediation cost in Minnesota? I'm going to give you the actual number first. At Flannel People Mediation, divorce mediation is a flat fee of $12.95 per person. But that number, the $12.95, isn't the whole story. The real cost question isn't what's the cheapest possible way in terms of dollars to get through this. The real question is what process keeps this from being bigger, messier, and more expensive than it needs to be. And that is what I want to talk about today. Hey guys, my name is Ryan McLaughlin. I run Flannel People Mediation, which is a 100% virtual divorce mediation practice serving couples across Minnesota and across the globe. Most people who call me are absolutely not trying to destroy each other. They often use the word amicable. They identify like, we want to do this really hard thing well. We think we can. We have some tricky spots. They're often very overwhelmed. They might have kids, a house, retirement accounts. They may have questions about spousal support or some combination thereof. They often say like, this process feels like there's too many balls in the air. We have too much going on right now. I'm trying to process everything and do this thing. And that's where I come in. So today I'm going to break down what divorce mediation costs, what our flat fee includes, what it does not include, and when mediation may or may not be the right fit. So let's start with the numbers and let's start clean. Again, Flannel People's divorce mediation cost is $12.95 per person. And likely if you're watching this a year from now or 2 years from now or 3 years from now, our prices are only going to go up, right? But the premise here is that this is a flat fee and that matters. It's not an hourly fee. It's not a billable fee. It's not, let's see how many sessions this takes. Not a running clock that's sitting in the corner and just ticking, billable by minutes. And the reason I care about flat fee is because it creates simplicity and it creates certainty. And divorce already has enough uncertainty and complexity. So we want to reduce that. And we don't need to list all of the uncertainties, right, within divorce. You guys know what those are, but we don't want the cost to be like a contingent stressor. So let's talk about what you're actually getting and what you're actually paying for, because this is what a lot of people miss on camera. You're not just paying for our 3-hour virtual mediation session that happens midway through our process. You're paying for this whole structured setup that we have. You know, we've done over 100 of these in the last 2 years. You're paying for the preparation from the first intake call all the way to the first discovery call where we say, hey, the first time you reach out to a mediator, you talk to me, you get a sense of, hey, this is what Ryan's like, this is what the process is like, all the way to our emails early on, before our intake form. Our intake process is not just a static form. It started out that way. Now it is a handheld process through all of the major issues, from name change to who's going to take the kids' health insurance, who's going to do drop off and pick up, what our holiday is going to look like, right? The whole panoply, I think that's a word, issues we walk you through, from parenting time, decision making, spousal support, the house, is the mortgage going to be assumed, if there's going to be a refinance, what is the timeline, what are the quadros, bank accounts, cars, taxes, utilities, health insurance, your Netflix account, Costco account. And yes, I'm obviously intentionally naming small stuff here, but the small stuff we've learned can become bigger stuff later when it's not dealt with. And so the product here, guys, it's not 3 hours. The product is, I know you don't know yet what to ask because you haven't been through this, but we've built this process based on so many reps, and we're going to walk you through it from beginning to end of mediation. Now, here's one thing I want you to remember. Cheap is not the same thing as complete. And so what you're optimizing here is an efficient process by an experienced provider in a way that vibe checks with you and feels good to the both of you. And guys, this is often the hardest stage of a divorce, is identifying at the beginning, when you're already overwhelmed by all of the other things in your head, what process are we going to use? Can we align on this one thing when we feel unaligned on so many other things? Like the first conversations between party A and party B in terms of, can we get on board with mediation, both of us? That seems to be the highest hurdle in this whole process. And it's not that everything else is going to be daffodils and daisies afterwards, but it's that seems to be, once we can have that, we have some momentum behind us moving forward. We're both aligned, we're going in the same direction, we've both chosen the same thing freely, and that matters a lot. So if you're here and you're feeling stuck, guys, we'll put it down below as well. We'll put it in the description to this video, but book a free consult, book a conversation with me. Let's talk through your situation, get a sense of it. And even that brief 15 to 30 minute conversation can really help just lower anxiety by increasing what you know and decreasing what you don't know. Okay. So we want to leave divorce mediation with a broad sense that the process was fair, that from beginning to middle and end, you felt like you were able to articulate what you needed to, that you felt supported in that process. You had ample time to reflection and talk to people who can support you and give you input, and not like it's rushed, not like the parenting schedule is vague or half-baked, not like the moving out of the house timeline is mushy or forced on you. Not that you're completely oblivious and clueless to who's paying the mortgage while the refinance is pending. Not that, you were left in the dark about the fact that retirement account division is a separate process. We don't want to leave you 6 months later back in conflict because we underbuilt the process facilitating an agreement. Okay, so let's talk about what is outside the cost of mediation. And this video is designed to be comprehensive. So if you're deep in it like this, thanks for staying with it this far. Again, if your situation is outside of what we're talking about here, grab a free consult at flannelpeoplemediation.com. We got lots of time. We'd love to talk to you. Mediation is not the only cost in divorce. You may still have court filing fees. You may have to do a refinance or get an appraisal or get some tax advice or do some financial planning. You may want an attorney to just do it a once over and give it a review. Also, nothing that's said in this video is legal advice. This is for educational purposes only about mediation. So if you have a question about your legal rights, what the courts would do, what the statutes say, talk to a lawyer. Guys, I will just make one note here on the sequence. Order matters. If you mediate your divorce with us or with anybody, with us, we leave with an unsigned document purposefully so that you have time to think, reflect. I don't take the position in my experience that we got to have you sign that day. That if we don't have you sign that afternoon before you log off of Zoom, it's unsuccessful and it's going to blow up. I don't think that way. Instead, we do the opposite. We say, take your time, think on it, reflect on it, meet together, be certain you want to do this, talk to your support people. And then if you feel confident, sign on the dotted line. It's sort of the inverse. And we do that for good reason because we want, and the research shows that if you feel the process was fair from end to end, you're more likely 5, 10, 15, 20 years from now to look back on this, not as a traumatic life event, but a transition. That's what we're going for. So it's competing against months of structured conflict in a court system with court hearings, with the court scheduling those. It is competing against emails that get longer and colder. It is competing with stomach ulcers and gray hair. It is competing financially, yes, for sure. There's a cost, but it's also competing emotionally, right? Your attention is expensive. Your time is the most valuable thing that you have, and it's expensive. Your ability to co-parent with some dignity is expensive. So that's why I think the better question to ask is not just how much does divorce mediation cost? The better question to ask is what process gives us the best chances of getting really clear without burning the whole thing down. So we talked about price. We talked about what's not included, what's included. I did some little notes here and there. Let's talk about, lastly, who is mediation for and who is mediation not for. So mediation is a good fit if two people can sit together in a process, tell the truth, share information, and work together-ish, collaborative-ish for decisions. I say ish because you don't have to love the other person. And maybe you agree on a lot. Maybe you agree on most things. But what you do need at minimum is a good faith that you want to participate. And so it's often a strong fit for couples who say things like, we want this to be amicable, or we can talk about a lot of things, but we can't talk about money without spiraling, or we want what's best for the kids. We don't want to drag this out. We need someone to walk us through this. And those are the exact people I built Flannel People Mediation for. That's the flannel in Flannel People Mediation. So if that's who this is for, let's talk about who this isn't for. Mediation might not be right, and call and ask, talk to me and ask, let's talk about it. If there's active intimidation, if there's hidden or suspected hidden money, if there's refusal to disclose information, or if you feel like you just can't participate with a level of honesty. It is also loud and clear, not a replacement for legal advice. I do not and will not give you legal advice. A mediator is neutral. I can guide the process. I can talk you through some hard conversations. I can help you organize what you're thinking about, but I am not your lawyer. I am not your spouse's lawyer. And some people, to answer their legal questions, to the extent that they have any, should refer to an attorney before signing or filing anything. And that's not a problem. That's often super smart. And I always encourage people to get the support they need for the reasons I stated, that it helps make those long-term feelings about the deal greater satisfaction, less regret, less resentment, less going back to court. less revisions. So the goal is to use professionals for the things that they're actually good at with respect to lawyers and legal support. So guys, if you are in Minnesota trying to figure out whether divorce mediation is the right fit, the next step that makes the most sense is a short consult. No pressure, no cost. We'll talk about where you are, what issues need attention, and whether this process makes sense for you. You can book that consult with me using the link below for a free 15-minute consult. And one last thing, real quick. If you remember nothing else from this video, the cheapest divorce, remember this, the cheapest divorce is not always the one with the lowest number first. The better process, the best product, the best experience, the best thing for you, net, holistically, is the one that facilitates, helps you make a clear, durable set of decisions without turning this already hard chapter into a war. That's what mediation is for. And that's what we try to do here at Flannel People Mediation. Guys, my name is Ryan. I'm a mediator with Flannel People Mediation. Thanks so much for watching. If this was helpful, smash that like time.